this idea of that's
Welcome back, good people of St. Anne's, to episode 3 of Omni Via. Father, we're doing it. We're making it happen. 3 episodes in. And let me tell you something. 3 episodes in, it's
49 to go.
49 to go. We get to polish off the air horn early. Actually, you know what? Never mind. Let's edit in some trumpets because I have big news. I was talking to a parishioner.
Where the trumpets are? All right.
They're in there.
They're there.
Yeah, I'll put them in. Yeah,
Got it.
Yeah, so.
Got it.
Yeah, okay. I was talking to a parishioner.
Lay it on me.
And he said, loves the podcast. And in the course of our conversation, he admitted that he listens to it in the morning. He dials it up before Bible in a Year. Look, I mean, 2 episodes in, we're beating out Father Mike. We're beating out the Bible, which...
Here we come.
Maybe that part's not as good. But also, Father Mike, love your stuff. Always welcome on the pod. Come on.
Yeah.
We got invitations out to Matt Frad now. Yeah. And Father Mike. This is great. We're doing it.
The problem is that, like, I think of Word on Fire, right, is like the, right? Like the Tiger Woods. But then if we do like Anne on Fire, that's somewhat maybe not appropriate.
Yeah,
so
maybe not.
Anne on Fire. Yeah. We'll get there.
We'll figure it out.
Once we get fame.
Yeah, we'll also be leading a litany of humility after the pod if anyone wants to stick around. So, Father, bring us back down to earth. How's your week been? What's been going on in your life?
No, a lot of good. You know, it's some good feedback and invite all of you. Keep us, you know, there's a lot we have in Luke's creative edge, my mind. There's a lot between guests we want to bring on. I do like, not every time, but I do like to bring in infrequently kind of a Q&A of like what is happening in the hearts of the people in the pews at the Church of St. Anne. That's in me. But another week of Lent is down, Luke. And so good things I think we're going to get on in terms of, we had a men's retreat last week. It was fantastic, I thought, in many ways. And there's a couple of themes. You know how this ends, you like in different events, that the events are not connected.
Right.
And then the Lord like brings up the same.
Yep.
So that kind of happened for me with regard
great.
to hospitality and what that looks like in terms of like parish evangelization. So I think in some ways we're going to continue last week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, it's great. And again, I think we said this last week as well, but please share. You know, I think it's
really important.
Obviously, the main audience is the good people of St. Anne, but you know, send it to friends and family because we just want feedback. We want to know if this is, you know, something that is going to benefit other people. So
we do.
So with that, definitely a benefit is, I think, people hearing what you like, and so we're gonna get into Ventus, your favorites.
Ventus
is another good category, another tough category because there's a lot out there. But we're going music today.
Okay.
So I know, at least for me, I was curious, and I'm curious to hear what you say because I was at the gym with my kids. Which, quick side note, good people saying that if you see Father at the gym, just let him work out. You know, it's not no hand, a little head nod, you know, a little wave. If he doesn't wave back, it's not you. He's in the zone. Leave him alone. No clerics, no conversation. That's what I like to say.
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
Yeah, I like that. No clerics, no conversation.
Yeah, just.
And you know what? So without getting too pious, I think we'll bring that in to this, how we're going to talk about hospitality and evangelization, because there is like there's real like, well, Father should be more hospitable in the middle of his sets at the squat rack, and not sure.
Not sure. Yeah, you need some you time as well.
Yeah.
So. But anyway, I bring that up because my daughter was like, what does Father listen to at the gym? Because you got the nice big headphones on. And I told her it's just mass parts in Latin, just on repeat, which I don't think is accurate. So we're going down the music.
From the monks of Salem,
yes,
France.
We're going down the music train. So again, rather than top 5, it's more just kind of like, who are 5 artists that you come back to time and time again that you just really, really love listening to?
Not necessarily in the gym or in the gym?
Not necessarily in the gym. Just in general.
Good. I like. It's tough. There's so many.
It's hard.
So I go back. Okay, good. So I go back to. I like the Dire Straits.
Okay.
Yeah, Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
I like Heart. Yeah. REO Speedwagon.
REO Speedwagon is a good one.
Yeah. and Outcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey ya.
Yeah.
I love hey ya.
Outcast goes between like, okay, probably not good for my ears to like,
No.
oh, good for my ears.
Yeah,
So-
absolutely. Sometimes
so-
in the same song.
Those are the 5.
Great. Yeah, no, that's great. Hey Ya by Outkast is one of my top karaoke songs.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah, I love it.
Oh, yeah.
Because here's my thing with karaoke. If you have a good voice, the best things to sing are like ballads, but that doesn't get the people going.
No,
You know?
no.
So I always pick a song that everybody knows, and then everybody sing along. They won't recognize that I have a bad voice. So that's kind of my go-to.
It was their initial beat that got them famous. The name of the song is Rosa Parks, and the lyrics are written for the quick narrative of the life of Rosa Parks and the bus story incident. And but it has a great beat, and it's while you're cooking, while you're brushing your teeth, while you're at the gym. It is a versatile song.
Great. All right.
Enough
So there you
with-
go.
enough
Check it
with
out.
Outkast.
But again, with Outkast, also tread lightly because there's some other things. No, that's great. Yeah, and I think again, as always, a lot of this with the Ventu stuff is, it's important that we have our favorites and our hobbies because it's important to share those, and that's how we connect with other people. And just to kind of go back to what we talked about last week when we got into our mission standpoint is again just these 2 handles of divine intimacy and authentic friendship, and what does that mean? Again, the more we connect with the Lord, the more we dive into that relationship. Hopefully, if it's truly growing, then it's going to demand to be shared more and more and more. And so we're going to get a little more into like what does that kind of look like practically. But there was a quote from Agentes that again just really stood out to me. I think summed up what we were talking about last week well, and it says, "Therefore, all sons of the church should have a lively awareness of their responsibility to the world. They should foster in themselves a truly Catholic spirit. They should spend their forces in the work of evangelization. And yet, let everyone know that their first and most important obligation for the spread of the faith is this, to lead a profoundly Christian life."
Cool.
So the most important thing we can do, Father, right, is to live a life worth living and imitating, right? One oriented towards Christ. So what in your experience, like what are some of those key qualities to like a truly Christian life?
I think key qualities, qualities, maybe could I give out that word and maybe take in virtues?
Yeah.
I mean, they're all important in some sense, but I appreciate like, okay, what are the kind of like the trademarks? We're going to go there, but it's so fresh in my mind. I think hospitality, right? So I think there's a lot out there on kindness, but I think people are like poo-poo, kind of like, oh no, I got that down. And in fact, they don't have it down.
Yeah.
They're generally nice people,
Right.
and they kind of check the box, but actually their hospitality is not, myself included, right? Maybe to the standard of the kingdom. So I think like hospitality is huge. The Christian life, you got to live a sacramental worldview, right?
Agreed.
That things stand for something else. There's an order and a hierarchy to the world, and we can fight that all day, but that's just the reality of it. And that's where God meets us.
Yeah.
And then 3, I think, so hospitality, like a hospitable will, a sacramental worldview to see things that are invisible and believe in them to be true. And then thirdly, I think, different saints have used it in terms of like principle and foundation, kind of like the number one handle is that God wills only good. And, there's always and always will be this connection between something happened to me and like we put God in that, like God wanted this.
Yeah.
And that's just not the
Right.
truth.
Right.
So we have to, there's a fine line, I think, between the sacramental worldview and seeing things that are invisible, but we don't want to spiritualize everything, right? So the classic example is like, I got plans tomorrow, but it snows. God must not want me to do that.
Didn't want the plans.
That just is not a true statement.
Yeah.
It could be, but he's slower than that. He's going to reveal that. The saints did not think that way. The saints would have encapsulated decades of like maybe a storm,
Right.
Something in nature, but not like the day of.
Right.
Actually, there's a system in the air, and people that are much smarter than me knew it was going to snow tomorrow 7 days ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And is it God's being? Of course. Is it God's order? Absolutely. But in terms of like God waking up and like snow,
Yeah. Yeah.
it doesn't work that way,
Right.
folks.
Right. And I think with that, rather than the response being like, oh, well, obviously this is God, is more like, okay, thank you, God. Because again, the snow is part of your divine will, but how am I just going to allow it to be a part of my life, not this big, again, spiritual awakening?
You got it.
Right. The one counter to that is when, Saint Scholastica prayed directly for a storm. So again, if you prayed for the snow, then maybe, but for the most part, I think you're right. I do that a lot too, where even maybe the opposite is like, okay, I'm supposed to go to a certain meeting or get together with a friend, and just like thing after thing, I'm like, wow, Satan really doesn't want me to go. And I'm like, I don't think Satan really actually cares about that.
That's right.
Like, he cares more about, he wants in those moments to maybe affect my mentality of
Bingo.
what I'm thinking
Yeah.
of. But it's not necessarily that he's actively working in my life to mess these things up.
He's actually working to have you sin.
Yes, yeah. I think he cares more about that than
Yeah.
me, catching every red light. Not as big.
That's
on his
classic.
part. Yeah.
That's the classic one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, those lights are red a lot.
Yes.
So
Yeah, it's true. It's very true. So, well, that's great. So we're gonna take a break.
we'll go after that. Yeah.
And when we come back, we'll get more into this again. I think that starting on that first principle you said, which hospitality, kind of again, what does that mean for us? What does that mean within the terms of a parish? But let's take a break.
Can't wait.
All right, we're back. So, Father, you and I had the awesome privilege earlier to attend the Christ the King Gala.
Yeah, it's great last week.
Yeah, it was a great event, and they had a keynote speaker that, his talk just really moved me, because he talked a lot about hospitality, and he talked about how really what hospitality is kind of this way that we can bridge the gap in, socioeconomic, relation, whatever, all these gaps in life to just connect with people. And he says that ultimately it mirrors how God interacts with us, because he bridges the gap of time, space, and eternity to interact with us. And so hospitality is a very, very fundamental Christian thing. And so it just kind of got me thinking like, okay, what is hospitality? What is fake hospitality? And kind of what came to mind was just kind of this difference between hospitality, which is, truly caring and welcoming for the people that are coming, and this idea of atmosphere or ambiance. And I just, thought, and no disrespect to Cracker Barrel, great establishment, love the food, but they're big on atmosphere.
Now I'm hungry. Yeah.
It's true. Could go for some, some gravy, some biscuits. But atmosphere, you walk into a Cracker Barrel, you go, wow, this is just great setup, great atmosphere. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to enjoy yourself, or that the food's any good, or that the servers are kind. It just means they put a lot of effort into making you feel that way. Whereas, again, hospitality could be, a Chick-fil-A where, I don't know, their restaurants aren't exceptional or the atmosphere isn't, but you get really good service because when you walk in, you feel like they want you to be there. So kind of extending that to the parish, I think, again, what are some of those key differences, or kind of what is that role of a parish? Because I think there's a difference between what a parish does and what a parish actually is. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think your image of the Cracker Barrel is really, it's actually profound and I think it's true. So this distinction between atmosphere and hospitality, that they go hand in hand, right? So the atmosphere is, I think, the means, is like the vehicle we drive to show good hospitality.
Absolutely. I think both are ideal, obviously, right?
And those things are done according to what a thing's purpose is, right? So the nature of something. So just, I don't want to get bogged down in the examples, but McDonald's, Taco John's doesn't have to be that.
Right.
The origin is fast food.
Right.
Right. And so it's funny when people criticize those things, but that's not the purpose of it, right? And in the same way, you're not getting, your double walk, you're not getting your 3-layer waffle skillet with fried chicken and maple syrup. you're not going to get it in 4 minutes.
No.
And you shouldn't.
No.
Because that actually is not the purpose. It's like this homestyle cooking place, and we're going to take a little bit longer. So in parish life, but I wanted to thank you, Luke, because I think it's a really steering image. In parish life, when it comes to having a good parish, or a parish that is, oriented towards evangelization,
Yeah.
that really has to be the first step, is hospitality. The busyness, and even from the actual beauty of the church building,
Yeah.
to the volume, if you will, or the rigor, you will, of eventing. So something happening every night, and I can kind of speak, right? There can be some candor today, because we're in the middle of every day at St. Anne's, right? And I've marketed it that way, and I've intended to do that for different reasons. But that can't be sustainable in terms of that's who we are. Is like there's always something happening. That simply is not like what we're after. You're right. What we're after is the place of the parish is to continue on the salvific mission of Jesus Christ in the church.
Right.
And sometimes that does mean like eventing in a consistent basis, but sometimes it doesn't. What it always means is that if I'm carrying that on, that means I am sharing what has been handed on to me.
Yes.
And I can't share unless there's hospitality happening.
Right.
And so it does mean something like Anne's warmth, and a shout out to Mark Powell and all the good work he does, and all of the volunteers. And I encourage you guys to keep signing up, because we need it after our masses on Sunday. I definitely wanted to give a handout to that, and to appreciate all of Mark's hard work. But the point of it being, so here's just the nugget, right? It's every Sunday. It's not too much, because we have mass every Sunday.
Right.
And so if we're given that every Sunday, what are we doing with it?
Yeah.
And so, there's all these other, indirect fruits of your kids get, they walk out of church with a fuller stomach. It saves a meal at home. I can catch up, great. But the intention of that is to make sure that we are hospitable towards one another. And so this happens at table, when you're sharing, the donut together or the cup of coffee, when you're walking down, when you're volunteering your 12-year-old to cut donuts, a couple Sundays a month. I think that's a really important, that the hospitality is there. And so I think, I want to put it back to you, Luke, because, Father Gross at the Christ the King Gala last week, he made this great insight of that's the first step our Lord takes.
Yeah.
In terms of God as Father, is he shows us hospitality by inviting us into the world. And for me, it was definitely one of those, I'm having my glass of wine, and I'm thinking, whoa.
Yeah.
We need to hear that. Like, if he didn't open the door to the world, we're not here, folks. We're not here.
Right.
And in some ways, I think that's why, you have it very systematically in the order of St. Benedict, right? The Benedictines are known for hospitality. But he quoted, and he's a great thinker in the church, very modern, Monsignor Luigi Giussani, the founder of Communion and Liberation. Google him, do whatever you need to do. He has a couple of great books out there. But he's very convicted that the first step in evangelization, to tie it back, is hospitality. Yeah. Because that's the first step our Lord took.
Right.
And it perpetuates. It's not like, Genesis. Okay, well, what else do you got?
Yeah.
Right? You heard, we talked about last week at Vigilance, 2 weeks ago now. Isn't the invitation to Andrew and Peter and Philip and Nicodemus, come and see?
Yeah.
Isn't that an invitation of hospitality?
Oh, absolutely.
Versus, can I hit you up? I'll call you.
Yeah.
But you stay there and I'll stay here.
Let's put something on the calendar.
Yeah. No. No, it was Jesus Christ saying, I'm going to show you hospitality. And that was the actual narrative. They spent time together.
Yeah, absolutely. And man, we could go 5 weeks on, I think, this subject, because I think there's so much to unpack, even just what you said. And I think, we've gotten into a habit, I think, as a culture, of convenience over true community. It's like, again, don't get me wrong. I love fast food. I love a nice, a nice burger,
Bring it on.
a little double McDouble with bacon
Bring
on
it
it,
on.
you know.
Bring it on.
But the problem with those kind of restaurants, or the other one that, you know, kind of drives me, is like a B-dubs. Love B-dubs. But when you go there, there's 6,000 TVs, and my eyes are trying to see all of them. And what it does is it distracts from the purpose of a meal, which is to be in community, right? Like, there's something about sit-down restaurants that you got to wait for the food to come out, right? You got to figure out what you want, and you're asking, like, well, what do you usually get here? Like, oh, is that good? Or, hey, you want to split something? It draws you into conversation, and then you got to wait for it. And after you eat, then you got to decide, oh, we're getting dessert. And then one person decides they're getting dessert, then everyone's getting dessert. But it can perpetuates this sense of community. And you rarely are in a hurry, right? Well, if you're going out to dinner, you're planning multiple hours. And I think that we get trapped then with Sunday Mass, where it's kind of like, you know, it's like, oh, no, Mass is supposed to be an hour. I'm in and out in an hour. And there's not this kind of room for, hey, what if I showed up early so I can, you know, get to meet people, make sure I have a good seat, then have that time afterward, you know, enjoy the meal together, the Mass, but then have that time afterwards to do, again, donuts, dessert, whatever you want to call it. But again, I think that we've just kind of lost that in our culture of just this fast-paced convenience, and we lose a lot of that true sense of hospitality. Because again, being welcoming and being hospitable aren't quite the same. I could welcome you into my house and then just say, oh yeah, here, I made you dinner, and then just leave. But that's not hospitality. Is I want you to come and see my life and where I live and the things that I'm doing. And those moments and they're hard, especially, I think, you know, a lot of young families are probably listening. It's hard when you got kids running around. You're like, we can barely make dinner for ourselves, let alone bring in some. But again, it's not really, the point is not necessarily to perfect this kind of ability to host where everything's perfect, it's on time dinner. Some of the best times that I've had when invite over to people is you show up, they're like, hey, we're running a little behind on dinner. Can you help cut the zucchini or whatever it is? You're like, oh, absolutely. Like, this is why I came, was to spend time with you, not necessarily to like be served a meal next to you. And so again, that extends ever more to the church. And we don't just come to Mass to just receive Jesus in a singular way, but as a community to receive Jesus, and then go out and continue to share him with one another and be bolstered, and then go out and share him with those that weren't there. And so,
you know, and there's so much with the Mass, right? So we have the horizontal and the vertical, Luke, and you know, maybe we're kind of deviating from script, but I think this is really wholesome conversation in terms of, and we could return it to after the break. But the horizontal and the vertical, right? So there's the elements of the Mass. So first and foremost is the vertical. We are worshiping what Jesus did for us.
yes,
Period. Like, that's what it is. But he did that he commemorated that through, he gave us the command, do this in memory of me, through a supper. And we honor that on the Mass of the Lord's Supper on Holy Thursday, right? So all the more reason to attend that is kind of the first step in the sacred Triduum. So then you have the horizontal, that you know, this way, that they were all together, Jesus and the 12 apostles were together in a meal. And that there's such striking, I think, natural images of that. So I go two, right? So the common one is oftentimes you'll hear it in priests' homilies, if you know they're talking about maybe encouraging folks to stay after, or like a silence after, or not this idea of like checking okay, 60 minutes, I'm out of here, right? Because when you go to a meal, you don't think that. And if you do, you're not a very good guest.
yeah,
Right? You are just there. It could be an hour, it could be 3 hours, but you're just there to receive what somebody has done for you.
yeah,
That's number one, right? And so I think that's the vertical. The horizontal, I often think about this. You know, it's a few months away now, but it'll be here quick. End of May, right? Graduation season.
yeah,
I often think of this. So the whole hour thing, because I preached on this before. You know, the Catholic life, you mentioned, what is the Christian life?
yeah,
What it's not is my Mass, my Catholic life is 1 hour on Sunday morning.
correct.
I do that, and I'm good now until next Sunday. And I think a lot of the people in the pews are there. Hard word, perhaps, but I really pray in my homilies to speak to those people. Like, check the box. I'll be back next Sunday. And I know we got to go to break, Luke, but I want us to kind of sit with this before the break. I think of a graduation, and I think of a mom or a dad saying to their son or daughter, talking about graduation the week of, oh no, we don't got time for that. Like, that's Sunday.
Yeah.
It's Sunday at 4, but we don't have time to talk about it today. And then a couple days later, talks about, oh, like, should I wear these shoes or what should I? Oh no, it's on Sunday, so let's just. And then the graduation hits. Right, this is a huge momentous event. It could be kindergarten, it could be high school, it could be college, and for that hour, right, for commencement, they're locked in.
Yep.
They leave commencement. There's no party. There's no gifts. There's no open house. And then 18-year-old on her way to college talks about how wonderful it feels to graduate high school the night of, and mom and dad say, oh no, we don't have time to talk about it.
Right.
Friends, I really think we approach the Mass that way in our faith, sometimes that way.
I agree.
And I think, so right, a mom and dad, at the end of it, it's love, but they're showing hospitality to their high school graduate by, step by step, getting excited, buying the dress, buying the shoes, buying the tie, getting the cater. Grandma's going to make this, mom's going to make this, dad's going to grill this. Like, look at all, right? Look at the atmosphere and look at the willed behavior. And do we do that with our faith?
No. And even like, I think, and then we'll take a break, but I am grateful that I don't see it as just 1 hour on Sunday, but I also still, in the many things that I do, can fall into the trap of just, my checklist is just longer than other people's, but it's still a checklist. You know what I mean? It's like, sure, I hit up daily Mass.
Well said.
Because it's on the checklist. Not because in this return of hospitality to the Lord, who is, from the beginning of time, decided that this is where he wanted me and this is when he wanted to love me, that in response to that, I then give back to him in whatever ways I can. Again, I don't always have that mentality, which is what you're getting at. So let's take a break and come back after. And we're back. Okay, so Father, we've talked very theoretically about this idea of hospitality, and again, it's a return of God's love to us and to the people around us, and we can't just put it in a box, can't just be a checkbox, it's got to be a way that we live. But let's get a little more practical. So looking at the parish, what does that mean for a parish?
So Luke, let me answer it this way, because I think this is really Luke Hellwig's, I don't want to say it's not a skill set, but I think there's a real gift and a charism that you probably the Lord put in you, and also through your focus work. But I think you can give us some real handles for parish life. So in 2017, 2018, I was able to do 2 focus mission trips, with 12, 15 undergraduate students and missionaries to different parts of the world. And in both instances, I was struck. Their knowledge of the faith, their prayer life, that was all there. And yes, that makes an impact. But there was such a sensitivity to person and conversation. And we talked about the weather 5 minutes, and we talked about each other 55 minutes in an hour conversation.
Yeah.
And so what was given to me on these trips, right? I'm at that point, I'm 6, 7, 8 years ordained priest, young priest, was something I think now I'm finally kind of blossoming in terms of my priesthood, is yes, Anne's warmth. Yes, a ladies' night for all new moms of the parish. Yes, a Casey stag night for the Knights of Columbus. Absolutely. We got to do the events. But what about for the person who's not going to Anne's warmth? The person who's not going to stag nights. In other words, what I received from these good young undergraduate students and focused missionaries was like a habit of life.
Yeah.
And the events are needed, But I think they're only as strong as how do we walk out of Mass with people? How do we walk into Mass? How do I grocery shop?
Yeah.
How do I communicate to my spouse in front of my kids? Am I doing it from a place of giving and receiving hospitality?
Yeah.
And the reason why I like that word today, Luke, more than like love,
Right.
is because I think people are convicted about love. Well, of course I love them.
Right.
And then it's kind of, but then I treat them however I want to treat them, right? And the saints knew this. Saint Benedict knew this, which is why he wrote it and he cultivated it in the monks was, yeah, but how are we going to love?
Right.
It's this gracious response towards the person. And so maybe that's kind of my line, Luke. And I just want you to speak about that from your world of how do we show hospitality at the parish level?
Yeah, and it's a great question, and thank you for your kind words. And it's definitely something that I think Focus does a really good job of, and that just throughout my own experience, I've been able to cultivate, again, maybe a better understanding of it. I'm not always great at it either, because I think a few obstacles to what you're talking about is one, we always have a bunch of stuff going on in our own lives, and sometimes it's hard to like give what we don't have, right? So if you're showing up late to Mass because the kids are screaming, and then all of a sudden, here's Father asking you to like, hey, well, what about the people around you? How are you loving them? Like, I'm struggling to even love myself right now, right? So I think that's an obstacle. So something we need to combat both in just, how are we building those habits that allow us to arrive to Mass filled so that we can then pour out into others. I think another obstacle is just, maybe we're introvert, maybe we're not the best conversationalists. How do you start a conversation with someone you don't know? Which again, I think is both of those things it just takes a little bit of work. And what I like to say is kind of, and I think this applies to a lot of what we're talking about, but I think we get too wrapped up in using the wrong words or kind of even love. There's so many different ways, like I love pizza and I love God, but those obviously are not the same kind of love, right? But the two words I like to use is kind of this difference between something being easy and something being simple. And I think what we're describing, hospitality, it's simple in practice. It doesn't have to be this big ordeal or what, but it's not easy. It still requires an act of the will. So I think how I would kind of, again, go back to answer your question, like how do we actually do that? From a parish level, I think, from a parish and then working down to the parishioners, from a parish level, like you said, all the events you have going on during Lent are awesome because events are ultimately opportunities for people to encounter something new. Hopefully the Lord, but maybe just a new approach to something or a new friendship or a new dish or whatever. But if we only treat them as events, which is like, well, we just got to have stuff so people will come. But then there's not actually a desire to encounter the people that come.
Exactly. Well done.
Right? So even St. Anne's Warmth, great. Any parish can throw donuts out on a table.
Anybody can.
But what is the intentional, hospitable actions that are taking place, right? Are there, and I'm just throwing out examples, are there a few couples who maybe aren't signing up to help clean up or set up, but are signing up to be, like welcoming and say, hey, we're just going to kind of mill about until we see some people sitting by themselves and we're going to sit at that table, right? Like these kind of more intentional thoughts and nobody even has to sign up for that. You can do that. You walk in and your temptation is maybe to sit with the family that you always sit with, but maybe one Sunday you just say, I'm going to sit with someone new and strike up a conversation, right? So I think intentionality in these events to understand that they're encounters. And then I think we can also get stuck in this idea of numbers, right? Always like at what point is a vigilance successful? 10 people, 20 people, 30 people, 50 people? Like, well, yes. The answer is always yes. Because anybody that comes, if we truly believe that it's about an encounter, then one person showing up is a success. At the same time, if 100 people come, that's 100 souls that could have an encounter. So we also want there to be a lot of people there. And so again, it's fighting through that tension of wanting there to be a lot of people there because that's what we've convinced ourselves means it's a good event, but only if all of those people are being engaged and encountered. So I think there's just kind of those things.
That's really good.
Yeah, and then again, I think right? Programming and flyers and bulletins versus personal invitations. That's the other one I'd get into is, I mean, you can design the best bulletin. You know, we can advertise for an event as much as we want here on the podcast. You can preach about it in your homily. You can have 1,000 people that all want to go, but a lot of people won't go just because they read the event time or because you made it sound so awesome. A lot of times people just need to be personally invited. And again, I think a distinction there, and this would be a very practical thing that I would encourage, is when you invite someone, it's always got to be, again, individual. Hey, Father, I'm going to this thing and I would love for you to come with me. As opposed to, hey, there's the Advent novena going on at St. Anne's. You should check it out. Again, that feels very sterile of like, hey, just wanted to let you know, here's a calendar invitation you should accept, as opposed to, again, I'm going, I want you to come with me. Could I pick you up? I'll save you a seat. Again, I think if most of us think of the events that we go to throughout a given month, year, it usually started with someone inviting us. So again, focusing on encounter versus, event planning, and then personally inviting people to come with us. I think those are two really, really big things. And then kind of, as I mentioned earlier, the last thing I'll say, that obstacle of just, we got a lot going on in our own lives, but that's why it goes back to what we talked about with divine intimacy and authentic friendship. If we are truly pursuing the Lord and being filled by the Lord in our prayer, and we're both pursuing and engaging in authentic friendship within our life, then it makes it so much easier then to extend and invite someone else into that. Because it's just part of who we are. It's not this like, oh yeah, I have a men's group that's at 6 a.m. on Tuesdays. That's the time I'm, available to encounter other people. So if you can come to, and again, we're all busy, but we're all busy, right? So it's like, and we're all busy doing the same things. So again, it's just kind of cultivating that mindset of, yes, I have a lot going on, but if I'm truly receiving good things from the Lord, like I ought to be giving that back.
I think too, we talk about, maybe to kind of wrap it up a little bit, this very thing, Luke, you're speaking about is going with. That's the hospitality, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is I think kindness kindness. First off, kindness would be even to acknowledge and then invite them to.
Mm-hmm.
Hospitality, I think, takes us to another level of like, no, I'm going to share myself with you.
Yeah.
Within this opportunity, right? And I think that's where you have both in the gospel with our Lord. Like, so if we could tie it back to Scripture, you have both. But in the spreading of the faith, the Lord knew and He used, it was hospitality. Once the kindness was shown, we got to take it further.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the classic, right? It's the classic, like in the Catholic world, in my life, it's Sunday after Sunday after Sunday after Sunday, seeing the same people. But until I say like, hey, can I come to your house for dinner? Which is, that's strong. And I think I've done that a handful of times, and sometimes it was awkward, and sometimes now they're friends,
Yeah.
Or, hey, do you want to come to my house for dinner? Right. That can be really strong for people, right? It's intimidating. It's like, it's risky. I'm not that type of person. I'm uncomfortable.
Right.
And you know what I say? I say to people, if you're there and you have security and peace in that, then I can honor that, right? This isn't a holy day of obligation.
Right.
However, there is a time and day in our own lives where we're going to really want that community around us. Mm-hmm. And when it's lonely, we're going to be in a position where, what have I given?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a very real thing.
Yeah.
It's a very real thing. And I think that's why this segment, and the role of hospitality in spreading the faith is so important. And to your point, the church could be immaculate, perfect architecture, beautiful music, all these boxes checked, and they need to be. Don't get me wrong.
Of course.
But what's going to fill up the pews is what filled up the pews 1,000 years ago. Mm-hmm. Is that if 5 people would ask 2 people to come to Mass.
Yeah.
It's much more effective.
Absolutely. Yeah, and as you were talking, man, a bunch more things went through my head. I think, again, in this quest for us to be more hospitable, I think one thing that's maybe we get a little shy about too is persistency. Because we're just like, it's like, hey, you want to come over for dinner? And someone's like, oh, well.
Don't you guys have that in focus? Like the ability to take a no?
Oh, yeah. Like you got
That's the thing,
You
right?
got to brush it off. I always tell this story, especially in my work with, I work with students remotely. And so a lot of times all I have is their number. And I remember this kid, he signed up, he said he was interested in a Bible study. And I texted him, no response. I got to like 3 times. I'm like, all right, obviously this guy's interested. We were talking about it as a team, and I was just kind of like, well, actually, I don't know that he's not interested because he hasn't responded. And so I just, amongst my head, I was like, I'm going to text this kid every week until he responds. 17 texts, Father. I sent 17 texts. And guess what? On text 17, he responded and said, hey, thank you so much. I don't know why I didn't reply any other time, but I am interested. I just was, whatever, being a ding dong. Yeah. And it's like, okay, cool. So 17 isn't too much. And some of it is like, I think being honest with them, like, we'd really love to have you over for dinner. If you don't want to, just say you don't want to. But don't keep saying like, well, maybe. It's like, just if you don't want to, that's fine.
And this could, we may need to end it with it. But so what I thought about, texting, right? So this is great because our means of communication, have grown exponentially in 20 years.
Yeah.
Here's my advice: take it or leave it.
I think I'm going to agree with you.
You will, maybe. Yeah. The whole, I'm not a texting person. Then your hospitable response is to text, and you meet them where they're at.
Yep.
And you say something like, hey, Luke, I'm not much of a texter. Could I call you sometime because I'm a caller?
Yep.
That doesn't happen. The amount of people I know that they draw a lot, like, oh, I'm not a caller, I just text.
Yeah.
The hospitable response is to meet the person where they're at.
Exactly.
And we don't read minds, ladies and gentlemen. So you have to tell people that. Right?
Yeah.
And that's, I'm a halvesies, I think, right? I can call or text. But I ain't, you got to be hospitable. It goes both ways.
Right.
So I really appreciated that in terms of like, we don't want to like, yes, is this always the best? Of course, the gold standard is one-on-one in person. But the hospitable response, I think nowadays, is to inform people, how do you like to be communicated to?
Yeah.
I know brother priests that will never pick up my phone call. They will always respond to my text. I don't get bent out of shape.
Right.
I'm not them.
No.
Don't get bent out of shape.
Yeah.
Let people communicate how they want to communicate.
Yeah, I think that's great because the other thing I was thinking of when you were talking that I think is, again, key to this idea of hospitality is vulnerability, which is just like, you can't be all tight-lipped and, get bent out of shape about these things. Like, you gotta be willing to say what you like, what you don't like. You gotta be willing to, like, when you're talking to someone, if all I do is talk to you about, oh yeah, kids are doing great in school, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, we're all struggling in some way. And when we only all just talk about our strengths, it doesn't turn into this, but it feels like, it's like, oh, you, me kind of stuff. It's just like, again, it goes back
boxing
to
match.
Yeah, it goes back to last week when it's like, when someone asks how you are, it's like, well, just answer honestly. Be willing to break that kind of standard exchange. And I think that goes with any of these things, with generating conversation with people, is just be willing to go off script.
I've had a horrible day.
Yeah, or again, asking engaging questions. I think that's the other big thing. Like if anyone out there is like, well, I just don't know how to strike up a conversation. I mean, again, spend 5 minutes at home and just think of what are some questions that if you got asked, you'd have to stop and go, that's a really good question. I haven't thought about that, right?
And you're great at that.
I do.
It's my favorite segment. It's coming up.
It is coming up. Should we go there now?
We should.
All right, let's do it. Okay. All right, here we go. Yeah, we took 2 breaks, so we're good. We can just go right into it.
Yeah,
let's
forget
do it.
You're the manager.
You're right.
I'm the father.
C. I'm the Duolingo level 11 Spanish speaker. That was unnecessary. Anyway, it's time for examination nonsense. Yeah. And
yes,
at this point, I hope the people know the system as well, right?
It's constant.
Yeah, we're gonna add the filters.
Yep.
We're gonna cue the music. We went trumpets earlier, so we're bringing the air horn in now.
Yeah.
Here it comes. All right, are you ready, Father?
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1. Here we go. Which shoe do you put on first, right or left?
Right.
What's an Olympic sport that doesn't exist but should?
Fishing.
Would you rather always be 5 minutes late or always be 30 minutes early?
30 minutes early.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Can you fold a fitted sheet by yourself?
No.
No, nobody can. It's impossible. What's the weirdest gift you've ever received?
Somebody's back hair in a paper bag.
Ooh, back hair?
Yeah, shaved back hair. College party.
That's
Not sinful.
No,
Imprudent, maybe. Gross, yes.
definitely. How do you spell okay? O-K or O-K-A-Y?
Okay.
Simple. If you could meet any author, who would it be and why?
St. John the Evangelist. I want to know why. Why didn't he die a martyr?
That's episode 33. We'll get into that. Yeah.
Why did, yeah.
Ranch or blue cheese?
Blue cheese.
Do we need to end the segment? I can't go on. If you could be the best in the world at something, what would it be?
A pediatric heart surgeon.
Oh, not sinning, personally.
You see where my mind's at? I want to be really good at saving kids' lives.
No, that's really cool. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Are you overly loyal to any clothing brands?
Cole Haan shoes.
Okay.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
those are nice.
Overly. Good adverb.
Yeah.
Cole Haan shoes and no.
No, that's it. Just Cole Haan shoes. Nice.
Cheap.
Queso or guac?
Glock.
Then finally, did you ever get in trouble at school as a teen? And if so, what for?
I was a chatterbox, so
Uh-huh.
from preschool on, my mom and dad would know that if it was a bad day, it's because I was talking at the wrong time.
Couldn't keep it shut, huh?
Occasionally, what I said,
Uh-huh.
not the best, but much more often, my character was too much.
Yeah.
Just close the lips.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't get in much trouble seeing. My friends and I, we tried a few different pranks that just didn't work out.
yeah.
We tried chaining all the doors shut on the school.
Okay.
We did it at like 11 p.m. and I think there were still people in the building. So then they tried to come out and they're like, oh, and then they just got some clippers and it was over. So we got there the next day and we're like, we're just walking in. So I tried to get in some trouble, but it didn't pay off. I couldn't bring it home. So. Speaking of bringing it home, that's the end of our show.
It's a great one.
Always
it's great.
Good. Always good. So again, please share. And again, we're not asking you to share because we need 1,000 views or things like that. But if you're benefiting from
That'd
it,
be nice.
That would be nice. We just want other people to benefit as well. And again, please let us know anything you love, anything you'd like us to change. We're open to feedback. With that, until next time.